Hello! Welcome back to another episode at The Heart Speaks. Today we have another special guest with us, Tan Siyou, who I would just say you're a director, okay? Because who is also the director of Amoeba, which is coming out in March. Yeah, in March in Singapore in the cinemas. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, maybe we can ask Siyou a bit more about yourself first, as a little introduction of like what you do and like maybe how I don't know how we met.
Yeah. Hi. Do I talk to Nick?
No, you can talk to
I am Tan Siyou. I am a filmmaker, mostly based in the US, but I spent a lot of time in Singapore too. I grew up in Singapore. I met all of you because I worked with Renice on a film called Amoeba. After that, I just started meeting more and more Renices, hobbies, and it's very nice, I think, because it's rare to meet people that are asking similar questions.
Yeah. Like I also understand you've been traveling a lot, right? So maybe do you want to share with us a bit more of your experience right now as like this film has been touring and everything? Maybe we can talk about the film first ish. If you want. Anything you want to say about it, I guess.
The film. I think the film, yes, I've been traveling a lot with the film, which is, I guess, a new experience. It's a bit destabilizing, but it's also fun. I think it's destabilizing because at some point I was going to a different country every like 3 days, and being on planes and airports, and then being rushed, and then having to do a lot of things and talking to a lot of people. And I think that is a new experience. But for me, filmmaking is, I mean, there is the part of production that is full of people, and in a sense, more extroversion. Yeah. But most of filmmaking is like the bulk of it is writing for many years, and I do that by myself. And then the post production is also quite solitary. It's usually me and one other person. So suddenly being pushed into this situation where I have to talk to a lot of people, it's quite fascinating. But at the same time, I think it's really quite fulfilling and quite fun because I think audiences and people that watch the film are so clever and so intelligent, and it reaches them in ways that I never expect. And it's interesting also to see how different countries and different audiences respond to this story of growing up in Singapore.
Ooh, interesting. I like that you ended up with growing up in Singapore. Because I wanted to maybe also ask, because I guess when the film was overseas, right? Like you had to talk to so many people about like the Singaporean culture, right? That has no idea what Singapore is like except for maybe crazy rich Asians.
Yeah.
Especially in the UK, right?
Yeah.
When they go, oh, you speak English there? And then maybe if you want to share a bit about how it's like, and it's quite open-ended actually, of how it's like to kind of recap your childhood experience in Singapore and then talking about it again to random people. Like, how was that like? This is kind of crude. Like, this, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Is it too much?
No, it's good.
I'm asking too many things, is it?
Whatever you make of that question, maybe. I mean, my paraphrase is like, tell us about your childhood and then your thoughts.
That's why I have them. They always paraphrase my crazy questions and I cut it out and I just put Julian going, tell us about your...
My childhood. But first, I want to say that sometimes I feel that in this weird position because it's a Singapore film, and there people maybe that's the first and only film they see of Singapore, and I don't want to say this film is an authority on Singapore. So I think Singapore is so diverse, like as diverse. Well, it's not a monolingual, monoracial country. It's like super racially diverse with a lot of influences, a lot of languages, a lot of religions, like all sorts of different points of view. And in the film, it focuses very specifically on one world, one little pocket of Singapore, which is like a Chinese school, like a elite Chinese secondary school. And I don't want to pretend that this is all of Singapore, but it was my reality. Growing up in Singapore, going to a school, it's all girls, Chinese, very authoritarian. So that is like a bit of attention that sometimes I have to fight with myself. It's like people are asking me about Singapore and stuff, and I have to talk about it, but it's my point of view. And I sometimes it's like I'm not an authority on any except my own life. And like, even that I'm not an authority, But that's the only thing I go, and I can only make feels that I've like things I've been through, I try to investigate and try to fictionalize. And about how did I grow up? So I grew up like very normal little boy with three sisters, and then I think first I have to say that I was like very small and skinny and undeveloped in primary school. Like when I see primary school kids now, I'm like, wow, so mature, Is it the nutrition? I don't know. I was like, it's so delayed. So I think I really bumbled my way into PSLE, and then I don't know what PSLE is. Just like you need to take exam. Every day is a test, and every year there's an exam. You just okay, let's do your thing. And so I just like bumbled my way into relatively considered good secondary school, and I don't know what it was. Like maybe it's like puberty or the school, but like something snapped, and I went into this school. I just couldn't follow the rules. But it's not like I purposely don't follow. I just was very tired. I mean, you have to wake like 6 o'clock. I hate waking up early. And I was very hungry. And then it's like so much homework and so many not fun things like science and maths and A maths and all these like horrible things. And so I think I was just like, there's no point to this class. And even the way I feel that I was being taught was so much like memorization to take a test, and I just don't see the point in it. So I was like quite rebellious. And I have some friends that, of course, I mean, and I'm not like a loner, like a weird little user, but I have some friends and we did like do some rebellious things together. But I think at the end of the day, they always say, "Aya, just suck it up, endure it." Like, don't stick your neck out. We just don't want to get in trouble. But I was always in trouble. I don't know. They can get out of trouble, but I'm always the one in trouble. So I was like kind of like picked on more by the teachers. Then after Sec 2, you take another exam, and then you get streamed into other classes. And so I was streamed into a class that's like the lousy class. And I mean, there was a lot of athletes in that class. I was also an athlete. I was a track and field, school track and field athlete. And so it was quite fun. And then I met like friends that were rebellious and became a very strong friendship, because it's the first time in my life that when I was being rebellious, instead of saying, "Hey, shut up," they like, let's go together, go against the system together. So that was very fun for me. And after 2 years, we all go our separate ways. I went to poor choice. I went to a junior college. I would say it's a very, very bad choice. I would do it differently if I could do it again. But I chose a school that was strong in the arts, like literature. But everything else was miserable in that school. So I think my growing up, I was very interested. I discovered like books and literature, English literature, and English language, I guess. And they really had to do with my teachers. I think language and fiction is inherently interesting to me, but the English teachers were maybe more open and taught it in a more exciting way, whereas like the Chinese was very memorization based. So I think that was my first thing of like, oh, I really like this. I want this to continue study. So I think it was the fiction and literature. But in this case, that I don't know, my childhood, yeah, I think quite normal. No clue was anything. Yeah, it was a lot of training, a lot of track and field trainings.
I think it's so incredible to know you as a person, to also know what you do as a director. Singapore is so small, so we have barely anybody doing film, since film requires so many people, so much money inside it. So you have taken this film Amoeba, which I think maybe as one of the big themes is that of, I think, as intelligent rebellion, not blatant chaotic rebellion.
Yeah.
And you have been in a way studying it or thinking about it for so many years. I think I heard it as 7 years of script writing. Is that correct?
Kind of. I mean, it started in 2019. I mean, 18, I started thinking about I mean, I think I've always been this time of secondary school has stayed with me, I think, quite a bit. But when I seriously started like thinking about it as a film, I think it was like 2018, 2019. Yeah, quite a
Wow, yeah. And now that I'm hearing also that it seems like that phase of research has now changed to a phase of demonstration to others, and you can hear people's feedback a lot more clearer. How has it changed for you? You know, the way you see this theme of intelligent rebellion?
I think I was not intelligent enough to realize that that was what I was looking for. And I think for me, filmmaking is a process of discovery. Like, I don't go into it being like, this is, I have certain things that I want, like certain intentions I want to explore. But I think maybe what I wanted to explore was a kind of like the amoeba-ness of growing up in a repressive society. But through that, I discovered that this, let's say intelligent rebellion or societal rebellion, I think it was something that I was like, after the film, I was like, oh, okay. But I think it was something I really struggled with because when I was writing it, I did go to some labs. And so when people hear the story, the pitch, right, it's like, oh, four girls want to form a gang, they expect gang things like drugs and, these things. But I never was able to write those things, even though it would have made for a fun and a film. But I was never able to write it, and I felt that that was not what I wanted to do. And I was like, why? Why is it important that the girls don't do these things? And then as I was writing and of course working with the actors and everyone, it's more like the kind of rebellion is a little bit ideological. It's sort of like going against the system and power structures in a teenage way, of course. And I think actually it was in Korea. Remember, there was this girl who asked this question where I was like, oh, wow, you're right. I think she asked, I mean, it was in Korean. So I don't know, I cannot translate exactly what she was saying, but what was translated to me is in the film, there's what is the difference between personal rebellion and societal rebellion? And our co-producer had given some context that in Korea last year, when they were, I guess, protesting against the president, it was a movement driven by a lot of young women. And the person who asked the question was a young. So I think it made me think a lot about the type of rebellion in the film and why did I not want to portray these girls as like that kind of rebels, like the typical things that you see, like smoke and drink and steal and vandalize, even though that is quite fun also. Yeah, because I think it's more important, it's more subversive actually to do a kind of ideological, intelligent rebellion, even though we can be less accessible.
I have a follow-up question, which is, so we do theatre, and the horrors of, the audience coming to us and saying, like, what is the takeaway you want from the audience? In a way, like a lot of times when people think of art making, they think of, you already have the model answer, then you want the audience to take away this concept, and therefore you create a piece around it. But likewise, similar to you, what we do is a piece, like the art is the discovery as well.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it so much. So when I watched the film 3 times, every time so moved to tears, so moved by all the details. Like everything was such a breath of fresh air. So I really enjoyed that. Do you have any response to that? Like with respect to what I think as a lot of Singaporeans thinking that art making must start with the end in mind.
Like an answer.
An answer.
But,
A message or
Yeah.
but can art embody a question instead?
Yeah.
I mean, I believe yes. I agree. I know what you mean because I think in a lot of Q&As here, there are, and even talking to friends, I think they want to find the answer. They want to know, am I right?
Am I stupid?
Yeah. When I look at this piece of art, hey, is it correct? But I think that comes from our upbringing and our system, because I think it's a system that doesn't encourage questions. It's all about ticking boxes and answering the question in the right way. And that is indoctrinated in us. And I think about this a fair amount because I'm like, oh man, my friends. checking with me if it's correct. And I'm like, there's no correct answer. It's just what you feel. What do you feel? And they struggle so hard. And no shade on any of my friends, but I think that it's an interesting thing because Singaporeans score very well on exams, but are we actually thinking? Are we actually exploring things, or are we just good at ticking boxes? And I think it's a interesting. It's a thing I have to navigate also because I don't want to come across as rude. Like I have my own intention, I have my own reasons why I do things, but I want to give you the answer because certain things have to be open ended for you to mull over in for it to hit in, and things like that. Yeah. So I think I agree. I think things can. It's nice when things are about questions, and more questions, and maybe there are no answers in life. It's just questions. And also art making, I think it also is a symptom of our society where everything needs to have a purpose. Everything must be quantifiable. It's like, if not, it seems indulgent. Like, oh, you're a poet. Your poetry can do what? What if someone is just exploring the language or beauty of the text or certain things, but everything needs to have some kind of productive purpose?
I want to elaborate on that, where I think a lot of time there is this banner that's being put on the arts, which is that you need to be accessible. If not, you are alienating. If not, you are a cult, because no one can understand. But I was listening to, I think, a podcast that said something along the lines of, what if the true cult is actually society? Like, in a way, society that tells you that there is a way of thinking and everybody subscribing to this way of thinking, which is based on pragmatism, which is that everything that you do must be productive, pragmatic. If not, it is not purposeful. And so there is no space for ambiguity anymore in this society. And what are actually the consequences of living like that?
Yeah.
I can already imagine just off of that also that a lot of people have been talking to me about you, saying that, oh, Amoeba has so many awards. It's going to make a lot of money. Congratulations. So what's next? More money, more, how are you going to make even more money kind of thing. And it shocked me because on speaking to you also, as we can see, the view on life is not hyper fixating on success or products or an answer, but a discovery. So it seems like like you seem to be also discovering how life unfolds itself even now. I think it's just a statement, that it's surprising how much this idea of capitalism, like everything must have a goal, everything must have monetary or some sort of outcome, transactional outcome.
Yeah. Then exactly. And it's very frustrating because especially the older generation and even peers, I'm surprised. This is so strong in them too. It's like I just remember my uncle being like, "Oh, you're so busy, you come back to Singapore, never visit us. You must be making so much money." I said, "Uncle, I make negative money. I like put money into this, Then he said, "You're stupid." And I was like, okay, think so. Sure. And I think there is so much baggage about doing artistic things in Singapore, because even at this age, like in this 2026 era, people still think people that do arts are stupid. And I think that is so incorrect. And that is so, it is a symptomatic of a sick society that thinks that, because like if you go anywhere else in the world, like art is important, culture is very important. And asking questions is important to push the society forward. But instead, we are a society that wants you to not ask any questions and just follow the cult, the recipe for success. And if you don't make any money, people are so baffled.
And well, I want to say something, but it's going to be controversial, which is that I feel like a lot of this is embedded into our nation building.
Yes.
Like, getting a house, public housing, ties you down to the state where you are measured by how productive you are by doing a job that gives you a fixed salary, a fixed income,
Yeah.
which is like the arts cannot do that for you because a labor of love takes so like it defies the structures of time that is
Yeah.
measured in terms of like a 9 to 5 job anyway.
Yeah.
And then like I was just watching this video, and maybe you can elaborate on this, which is that when Lee Kuan Yew, Minister Lee was building the nation, he emphasized a lot on productivity and this idea of we cannot fail. To fail as a nation is disastrous because we are small and we don't have natural resources and we have limited manpower. And I wonder how much of that trauma stays with us and is poured down from generations. Like we are not actually suffering.
Yeah.
We are just scared of
Yeah,
suffering.
yeah.
And that fear becomes our suffering.
Yeah. No, totally. I think there's so much trauma that as a generation after that generation, like it's all carried and it gets even worse. And something you said, you said yes, this whole narrative of like we are weak and vulnerable is like freaking on the TV all the time. Like
Yes.
anything you say, oh, we are weak and vulnerable. No, we are fucking strong.
Yeah.
We have so much, whatever trillions and trillions in some gold vault somewhere, you know. Doesn't that make us strong? Doesn't that make us like, I mean, go around the region, like Singapore is strong. And why are we continually not updating this stupid narrative? This narrative, we are weak and vulnerable. Sure, we are a small country. That is true. But that doesn't mean we are weak and vulnerable. We are actually a strong country. Like, then why educate us to be very, very well-educated people? No, we are well-educated and we move around in the world and are worldly and things. But this, I think, is very damaging, this like national narrative that we are weak and vulnerable because it seeps into our souls and our beings and we are so fearful. And I cannot tell you how frustrating it is when I meet people, peers, friends, family, two white-collar people in one, and they think they're poor. Have you seen actual poor people? It is so frustrating to me. And then when I try to call it out or bring attention to it, they're like, you chose your own path, what? Like, but I'm not. I mean, I know I chose my own path, but do you see that you both make a lot of money, and why do you think you're poor?
Yeah.
Why? Like, this is so sick.
Yeah.
It's perverted.
I had the exact same conversation with a family member who told me I cannot afford a condominium because I earn $14,000 a month, and to afford a house that's like about half my salary, and I am like, do you like, I don't know, like, have people actually tried surviving on very little? Because it is possible.
It's possible, yes.
And then so it is at some point greed already.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like you don't need that much
Yeah,
money.
you need that much
to
money. Yeah, totally. And I just think that it's so much, it's the whole society and its parents, like, I mean, at least for my family's point, like, you need to save money, I mean, a lot of it, I think, is war trauma and like colonialism and all this shame that we have not as a country ever processed. The shame of being a subject, like subjugation to like a British colonial power and like
Being abandoned.
yes, being abandoned and then whatever, all this like trauma of everything, we have not ever dealt with it. And so this whole thing of like, oh, we are like this poor little weakling, it keeps being in our fabric. And then it gets worse and worse with the generations, thinking they cannot afford anything, thinking that they have to like work until they die and everything. And like, I just think that it's like, it's not true. We have a lot of power, we have a lot of privilege. If you travel the world, you must see that Singaporeans are extremely privileged.
Yeah.
It's true. And one really doesn't need that much to live. And it's not to escape, like, I don't want to work anymore, I escape somewhere, I don't want to deal with it. No, I think we need to face these contradictions, and all these things, and try to understand and how to break through from it. Like, everyone is rich, but they think they're poor. Yeah.
Yeah. It just reminds me of the topic that we were talking about the other day, the whole idea of coddling. When someone like starts crying and you go, it's okay, or you go like, oh, this is too difficult for you to open. Come let me help you. Like, even seeing how like my nephew and niece are being raised, like
Mm.
it instills so much fear in you
Yeah.
as well. Like I genuinely feel like I cannot, like, because I went into like visual arts in school, right?
Yeah.
Because my mom said I was good at copying some artwork once. And it's like, whoa, talent right there, you know? And then of course, um through doing art, I went into architecture because that's when you could make money with the arts, right? Like,
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah, you study literature, become lawyer. Yeah, you study art, you become architect.
right? It's like, it doesn't make sense. But I think back to like seeing how my nephew and niece are being raised, it reminded me of like how, because I was so stuck with the mindset that I only can draw or like I only can paint, and that is my skill actually in life, that made me not want to try any other path and the possibility of doing anything else. So then the minute I go and join them in this like theatre space, I realized that I stopped myself from being able to act because I genuinely feel like I cannot do it. Like, it's not, it's just not what I was gifted with, you know? And this whole idea just makes me feel oppressed, like I'm stuck in this, like, my own box and limits that I put and set myself.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of Singaporeans have that mindset, in that sense where, oh, I have no talent. I am only very good at math. Thus, I become an accountant.
Yeah. It totally. I mean, I think it starts from the very beginning because I agree with you. Just watching my niece, the way she's brought up, I'm like, okay, this is why we are like this. There's so much fear. It's like, don't do this, don't climb that, don't touch this, don't touch that. Everything is a no. So of course you grow up with fears and boxes and not doing anything because you're afraid that. I mean, as a child, you're afraid of pissing your parents off, disapproval, and all these kind of things, you know. And it just was actually, it's quite profound to see people being like kids and how they were raised and think about how I was raised and why I am the way I am, I think. And I think, I just remember there's this like, I don't know, like Chinese families, like this crazy game is like, oh, when the child is like 1 year old, you give them some objects. Then you see what they crawl towards, that's what they're going to pick up. If they pick up the ruler, they're going to become an accountant. If they pick up the coin, they're going to be a businessman. Huh? This 1 year old baby.
Yeah, people can't sit with the discomfort of no answers, like of just being.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And also, I think maybe parents and everyone just wants to give you something that you're going to become. And this narrative, I think, is very important to think about narratives too, because we tell ourselves narratives and people tell us, in fact, people tell you, oh, you must be, you're only good at art. And that becomes your identity. So I think that we have to be very careful about what kind of narratives we, especially on young people, and how many of us have gone through the system being like, you're stupid, you can never make it, you're not good at this, go and do something else. Or you're really good at this is all you do. And I think it puts you in the boxes so young and you feel that you cannot break out of it. Because for so many reasons, you don't want to disappoint other people. It becomes your thing. You're good at it, of course it feels good.
Yeah, the fear of failing.
Yeah, the fear of failing.
Like, you're not even going to try because, like, yeah, you're just scared that it's not going to work out.
You know, as a funny thought, that every note of the Singapore dollar bill has a word on it. Like, I think $2 is youth. I think $5 is Garden City. I think $10 was youth. Sorry, $2 is something else. I just double check because the biggest denomination is the $10,000 bill. Any guesses on what that word is?
Prosperity.
Very close.
Wealth, like.
Okay, the $1,000 is the second biggest denomination. The $1,000 is government, I think. The 10,000 is economy. And it's very interesting because I feel like Singapore's one of the core tenets of the Singapore culture is efficiency for economy, because no one can doubt that, you know, if this guy has a lot of money and we use money as the arbiter for success, then okay, must be more successful. Makes sense at some point in time in history. But now it's like, if we want to remove money as the barometer of success, then what do I fall back on? And I don't know. So I always feel this need, people to quickly attach labels because it's the most efficient way for me to understand you. So she's a director. Oh, is she good or bad? Okay. If she's good, then I'll pay attention to you. If bad, no. So like, it almost seemed like, even though the awards are just flimsy, like people needed to quickly attach a label first before they even allow themselves to explore the unknown.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's almost as if like if I tell my friend that the film is good, no matter how bad it is, they will say it's good because the label is already attached. And that's horrifying.
Yes, 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 yeah, yeah.
And then you create a culture of people who cannot actually think for themselves.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, like a lot of people, they're like, they watch my films and they're like, oh yeah, it's very ambiguous. What you're trying to say is like, ambiguous good what? I think it's very good. I love ambiguity. I love sitting in this gray zone and not having things be black or white. But as I get older, I realize that a lot of my peers, yeah, are very, very uncomfortable with that. And as I get older also, it's like, yeah, like, I mean, to understand Singapore, and Singapore is so simple. Everything is just very economic.
Yeah.
Any decision is very economic. Oh, suddenly Google don't want to open headquarters because their queer employees are quitting. Oh, then you must do something about 3/7.
Oh.
Before that, no one, they don't care about it, you know. Everything is for the economy. So,
I don't know about this. I mean, I don't even read about the economy.
no, I think, I mean, the whole 3/7 and stuff like that, like, why was it finally repealed?
Interesting.
Because of the MNCs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was this.
I mean, my point of view,
It's okay, if anything, I always can.
No, but I think you're right. Because on TikTok, I watched like an interview of our current Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, and he was saying how he kind of said, yes, some people may think that Singapore is boring compared to other big cities, but we are safe, we are predictable, and other people would die for that. And then I was thinking like, is it actually truly possible to be safe and predictable for eternity? Because if you listen to the history of the world, every country has had their rise and fall. It is embedded into the fabric of the universe that there will be a collapse at one point. And if you are selling this narrative that we are safe, we are always safe, then I fear that when that point of collapse comes, actually we are not like psychically equipped to do it.
Totally, totally, I agree, bro. When we safe and predictable, again, is another narrative that they put on us, and then you're like, okay, I'm safe. I'm just make myself small. I don't want to rock for too much, you know, and very predictable. But it's true. Every country has a rise and fall, and I think Singapore is. I think it's interesting about Singapore. Singapore is trying to not let this happen, which I think is great. It's totally ambitious and crazy and psychotic, and they will do any means they can to not have to think.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have to say that it is quite nice being in Singapore. I really appreciate that you go around at night, walk around, like you feel safe. I can walk around on the streets as a woman at night, and I kind of know that nothing will. If something happens to me, I can fend it off. Like no one's gonna shoot me or stuff like that. So that is something that is great. But yeah, at the same time, I think it's a limiting thing, you know, because I think even things that could have innovation like art or like biomedical stuff or I don't know, there's so many things that can innovate and go out of the box. But no lah, safe lah, just make some money. So there will never be any breakthroughs or whatever if we continue to push this narrative onto people. Side piece, artists.
Yeah. There's the quote by Rudyard Kipling that success and failure are both imposters and we must treat them the same. So like, yes, I do think that Singapore is tremendous success, but we need to go, okay, accept, then still drive very, very hard as if I just failed towards something.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice when, for example, we've maybe built very fast cars, you know, built very fast high skyscrapers, and now we go, something must now turn inwards. I must chase and take the arts extremely seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Yeah. I think Singapore has let's say it's a developed economy, and I think it is at a point where we really need to look inwards and we have to discover and we have to nurture these things inside. If not, it's gonna crumble. And I think, you know, just looking at other countries, they could be messy. It's more openness to like culture and things, but that's how they progress, I think, and that's how they attract. I mean, to think in terms of economy, what draws people to certain countries for tourism dollar? Right, it's because their culture. It's because things are interesting. Like why people go to Hong Kong? the movies, like so cool gangster, you know, like Kowloon and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And I think, yeah, exactly what you say. I think we really need to turn inwards and to become stronger. I think it's like emotionally we need to have those words for emotions. I think like I feel that at least I talked to some friends that are also exploring this like maybe like psychology friends, and in their experience, like Singaporeans just are so cut off from their feelings that they don't have any words.
Yeah.
They just feel sick. Yeah, that's it here.
What was the philosopher that we were listening to just now on the podcast?
He said,
Zizek.
Zizek.
Yeah, and he was saying that we in this world where, like, for example, you say I have freedom because I can choose whether I'm going to wear Nike or Adidas today. Therefore, I live in a free society, and this is great. Like, why would we want like to go against this? But then, like, that's not truly freedom, because like the choice of whether you're wearing Nike or Adidas is so inconsequential to like the true like questions of life. And he was saying that we lack the language to articulate our unfreedom, which is what I think is like when people say I'm very sian. And then
Yeah.
They lack the language to articulate any other sort of like phenomena occurring inside. If you don't understand, then how do you tackle it at all?
yeah.
Yeah.
And in a society where everything is so tangible,
Yeah.
to not have that language might feel like it's not supposed to exist. It's like a ghost. So
Yeah, and it's actually so sad to see all my friends now that are now graduating and like all gonna start in the working world, right? So interning and everything.
Yeah.
All of them suddenly has lost their spark.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing everyone drop like flies one by one. Sorry if you're watching. But like it's so sad. Like I asked my friend who's like done theatre in SOTA, you know, and he was I always love to watch my theatre friends as a
Yeah.
visual artist. Like I was you guys are amazing,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
And then to see them go now, like, oh, what are you doing now? Like almost finished law, like 4 years studying law. So I go, oh, so what do you want to do? Like become a lawyer? Then he goes explain like a specific field in the lawyer industry that he wants to do.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay. He went to a career fair, okay, and he talked to all the lawyers, like, and to see which one vibes with him the most. He started interviewing them. All of them just textbook answer, responded to him, you know. And then he goes, so what is your passion in life? What do you do?
Yeah.
And then he hated all of their responses. And he's like, no one is connecting with me. No one is inspiring me. And I was like looking at him, I was like, I wonder why, you know. But carry on, you know. I was like, so you actually want to do law? And he was like, I mean, for now, maybe. But I was like, so what do you really want to do?
Yeah.
Then he started talking about a separate like industry, but about law as well.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a whole different thing. And I was like, wow, suddenly I feel like your tunnel vision, you know, like I feel like you have lost the ability to think just because society right now is pushing you towards that direction, being like, be part of my consumerism, capitalism, you know. And then I was like, you were once so like free.
Yeah.
And now I see that you're now struggling in this, and to cope with it, you go into relationships. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
finding a girlfriend, you know, like trying to hub on something that is even more like meaningful in your life,
Yeah,
because
right,
right now
right,
it's like you've lost the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's quite sad to see.
and also for a lot of these people, their choice comes from the fact that they don't want to disappoint their parents, which is actually not really a choice at all.
Yeah.
And what's scary is that sometimes we lack the distinction, the inner discernment to differentiate whether we are actually truly truly afraid of disappointing someone, or this is truly something we want to do.
Yeah. And it all comes down to the whole thing of money as well, because then I go and ask them, I was like, oh, so how? Like, they said, oh, my mom like is now don't have a job, and she's working part-time only. Well, if he watches this, he'll know it's him. He doesn't watch my podcast. and then like, and how do you explain some like a child, okay, because I would still consider like the mentality of like after university, like how do you consider it, like thinking about your whole life suddenly being like, I am an adult now, I need to fend for myself, I need to make money to survive because I want my own place, I want to move out from my parents' house, you know. So now is the time where like I hustle, but the 20s are your time to explore like what you truly want, you know, because you're finally free from the system. I mean, like from the education system, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so sad. And then all of them are just like, you have to climb that ladder to get the money for themselves. And how do you explain to someone, be like, actually, it's okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I feel also in Singapore, when is the point we become an adult? It's like a kid suddenly becomes an adult, but we are like suddenly society tells us, oh, you have these responsibilities now. You have to pay for your CPF. You have to pay taxes. You need to understand the entire like HFE process of getting a house, shelter. At what point do we stop being a child? And there are almost no contemporary rituals to transition a person from a child to an adult. I mean, the closest is graduation, but graduation is tied to the education, and you cannot claim that I become an adult when I stop going to a school.
Yeah, that's why all my friends now are doing masters for the sake of it. Because it's like prolonged. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
are you even interested in the topic you're studying?
Yeah. No, I think about this also because like the teenage years and everything, and I think when I make my films, I have to think about, I know it's like, oh, it's a coming of age. Then I was like, what is it to actually come of age in Singapore, you know? But I really feel like coming of age in Singapore is like killing a part of yourself because you suddenly have to become this adult with the full-time job, with responsibility and so on. But you're not equipped for it because possibly you study something you're not interested in, but you feel like you need to have the job and you feel like it's something you cannot quit. You have to continue doing it, and you just feel it's a death, and it's like it's a killing of your individuality, and instead of discovering more and sort of, I mean, of course, it's a privilege to be like, I love this, I want to do that, and it takes courage and it takes many things and a lot of sacrifice. But I feel, yeah, I think after university, I do sense a kind of death. Like it's like, oh, now I'm an adult, and I need to just, this is what I have to do. But no, this is not what you have to do. Who tell you? I mean, your parents, but you can defy them.
And even the whole parents thing of like, because in Singapore, maybe in other countries, like, okay, once you hit 18, you move out.
Yeah.
You really start like fending for yourself. But here it's like you're actually living with your parents still.
Yeah.
And like I think a lot of people who are not BTOing, like are actually gonna be with their parents till like a long time. And that dynamic in the household is still like
Totally.
you still feel like a child.
Oh, totally.
And even though like but in outside in the working world you feel like an adult. So you're like self-contradicting and it's just so hard to live.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, I live with my parents. Because that's what it says. When I come back to Singapore, it's so frustrating and it makes me feel so infantilized and it makes me think that this is how I was brought up. It's like this highly paternalistic society always telling you actually, everything I want to do is stripped of me. You know, it's like, okay, see, simple things, let's go to dinner. Then it's like, oh, let's go here. Nope, no, it's what Papa wants to eat. Why ask me that? Then I just follow you. Even if I don't like it, I just go, you know. And then you have to sort of obey. And if you don't, then you're very bad. And I agree. I think our parents love to keep us as children. I don't know whether this is a worldwide phenomena or like parents just want you to always be their child. And I think I think Singapore is very uniquely not good in this way where if you want to pay for a place, like if you want to rent a place, everyone is like, no, not good. This doesn't make financial sense.
Yes.
You should stay with your parents. Everyone, your friends, your parents, everyone's gonna be like, don't waste money. Just stay. Okay.
Save up for later and then you can buy a HDB.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, don't waste
Your
money renting.
Yeah.
But what if I really want to be independent? And what if that's what I want? But you're made to feel really bad.
Yeah. I have a theory that I feel like a lot of this phenomenon of our parents not being able to let their child go is actually an outsourcing of responsibility. Like I feel a lot of people, the Singapore dream, right, is to get into a good university, get good grades, get a good stable job, find a mate, give birth to kids, and then use the kids as an investment project for them to like and to have a retirement plan via the kid. And so a lot of people hasn't gone through the process themselves of finding out actually what do they want from life. So they themselves have not grown up. And I've seen like how people who are married like very, very young, they like your prefrontal
Yeah.
like cortex, right, and your entire brain is not completely developed yet. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I can fact check that with you medically. Is that true?
What's the question again? Sorry.
That like your brain hasn't even completely fully developed. I guess.
Your brain, so interestingly, right, like, while your brain's size will more or less stop at, I don't know, 6 years old ish, your brain's neurons can continue to grow all the way to old age, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they say, oh, when I hit my head, I kill brain cells, it will never regrow. Wrong. It can regrow, which means to say we must keep training our brain to keep thinking. I want to expand your theory, which is essentially in the efficiency society. The fastest way is to give you a hoop, jump. Oh, got it. Good job. And therefore, if I could put many, many, many hoops, it looks like I'm extremely successful. But I've never given myself the time to ask myself the question, which hoop do I want to jump through?
Maybe you don't want to jump through a hoop.
Yeah.
You know.
So there's no time. There's no time to even think about myself. And therefore, it seems like I can put enough hoops to last my entire life. So I'll spend my whole life just jumping. And the moment you stop jumping, I go,
Yeah.
escape.
Keep up.
Correct. It's a waste.
Yeah. You got legs, right? Jump.
Yeah.
Why 7 years one film? A bit long, no?
Yeah. They make no money. Aiyo, stupid.
And then you
crazy,
come out
right?
with films that are by popular Singaporean directors who like are just product placements. Because it's better.
Yeah. 7 days, one film script. Go!
Yeah.
Wow.
ChatGPT, even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, I started to also see the cycle within my own self. Being like, actually, I actually don't know what I want or like anymore. Like I am like forced to think in a certain way because, for example, like maybe fashion sense, oh, it's so cool and that's in that society to like fit in, yada yada. And you don't want to be the outsider, you
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
be the person, like for me at least.
Yeah.
And for the longest time I always wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
So to go outside of the system and be like, yo guys, actually I don't care about money. You're like, hey, what the hell? Like, then what do you actually care? I'm like, that's what I'm figuring out,
Yeah.
I'm actually trying different things now to actually know what I truly want. Because a lot of people, if I ask them, if you're not doing this, then what do you want to do? So I don't know.
And it's a very scary process because if you dare to speak out, then you start to feel like the people you once thought were your friends start to alienate you because they think you're weird. And so like, what's the real cult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true, yeah. And it's so sad because, like, I feel like I'm still also trying to figure out because who the fuck knows what
Yeah,
you
I'm
actually
also
want to
trying to
do in
figure out.
life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Someone who says, I know what I want to do in life is fucking lying to your
Yeah.
like, and then, yeah, so, I don't know. I don't think even the whole thing of like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want? Like, you need to do what you want.
Yeah.
It's already such a question that already restricts you to be like,
Yeah.
I need to know what I want.
And I think the narrative then is also like, I even if I know what I want, quotation marks, I need to ignore that because I need to raise a family. So I can only think about what I truly want during retirement,
Yes,
at which
yes.
point I'm contending with death.
Yes. And I think I agree with you, especially because I think the retirement people now, which is my parents, they have put off this question their whole life, and they're like, oh, in my retirement I will do what, but they're so there's nothing for, and I think I look at least I live in the States and I look at American parents and retired people, it's a very different attitude. I think in Singapore, our parents are still like trying to control the kids' life and putting so much pressure and expectation and trying to live through their kids' day without trying to find what they want to do or what. Yeah, so sure they go to Malaysia together and have fun, but it's like I still feel so much pressure from my parents. One day once they still want me to do what they want to do. But it's like, dude, you're retired. Go and freaking live your life. Like, please don't bother.
And then they tell you things like so even if you live according to your own rhythms, they'll tell you things like, why you don't eat dinner now?
Yeah.
You see, I so old, I say I have to take care
Yeah.
of you, I cannot do what I want.
Yeah.
But actually right, you don't need them to tell you to when to eat dinner.
But then if I say I don't want to eat dinner, you're like, why is so unhealthy?
Yeah.
You're so very, very bad. I
Yeah.
cook for you, then you never eat.
But the core of this is that
Yeah.
they are in existential crisis. They don't know what to do with
Yeah.
themselves in the empty moments because when you're not at home, they are probably just watching a television.
Yeah. Watching some person on YouTube.
It hits different talking about parents.
It's hit me very hard. My paraphrase is that, or what we just talked about, that for the person who spent their lives jumping through hoops or spending all the time aiming outwards and never aiming inwards, when I have kids, then I continue this cycle of
Yeah.
still projecting, you need to do this, you are a project of mine.
yeah.
But actually, yeah, your kids just need freedom, true freedom. So, which means the adult just needs to take care of themselves or spend the attention turning inward. And if you don't, then you suffocate everybody around you.
Yeah. Certainly.
Uh,
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to turn inwards. Also, I mean, it's like so uncomfortable, and murky, and you don't know what you're looking for. Also,
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what you're looking for. That's why you're not even gonna try. Because like, yeah, everyone has tried and tested all the other ways of like, oh, make money and become rich, and get a house. And then you fantasize over that. And then but no one has like everyone who actually went within it, I'm not gonna talk to
And
you
arts are
guys.
such a good tool
Yeah.
to explore inwards. But in a society that actually shits on the artist, of course you're not gonna have tools to be able to do that.
and also to turn inwards, you don't know what you're looking at. There is no it's quantifiable. Like, what are you looking for? Then it's like, okay, you can spend 10 days on it, you can spend 10 years on it. It's like, it's so murky. There are no rules, no nothing, no guardrails. And I think then that goes against exactly what our system is like, which is about efficiency and productivity and about money, capitalism,
Yeah.
all these kind of things.
And there are also a lot of like talk on like, oh, isn't it good then to have a lot of money so that I can retire earlier? And then when I retire earlier, I can do like the soul searching that I need to do. But actually, like, we don't know how. It's not about whether you have the means to do it or not. It's that even if you had the means, even if you had like 10,000 art materials, you still don't know how to paint.
Yeah.
And like, I think like borrowing from a podcast that we heard earlier today, which is a lot of people travel without traveling. Like, basically you go to another country,
Find myself.
but you are repeating the exact same patterns that you are doing in Singapore, which is that in Singapore maybe you eat at a lot of buffets, and then you go to Japan and then you're like, oh, omakase, you know, and then like, you go and like splurge on the same things. So you're not actually breaking a pattern. You are just trying to do it in a different environment.
Correct. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like, sure, everyone goes to Japan, and then people are like, no, lah, I'm better. I go somewhere more exotic, you know. But it's like, how are you traveling? You know, I think traveling has become so lazy in a way where it's just like, I just choose somewhere where the ticket is cheap, then I go, then I take leave, then I just want to escape.
Yes.
Then I eat all delicious things, then I come back, then I take pictures, you know? And it's like, it's an escapism thing.
Yeah.
So you rather just stay in Singapore lah. You go to, I don't know, escape to Sentosa or something.
Been to Mandai is completely revamped up.
Yeah.
I know.
Birds of paradise.
Birds of Paradise. Like, I took a picture, put it on my Instagram. People are like, what? And you're in Taiwan? I was like,
No, I got that.
yes.
Yeah, I think it's not where you go. Like in Singapore, one can have profound shifts in himself, but are you looking for that? Because I feel like a lot of traveling is just like going somewhere to escape, to come back, to be okay with your reality of this mundane job that you don't like. But the internal shifts can happen anywhere. It's whether you want to do it or not. You can travel somewhere and really see the place of what it is and be like, wow, I have a perspective shift. Or you can don't do that. You can just hang out with other Singaporeans and go skiing and
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And I think it links back to like how the Singaporeans also maybe perceive the arts because it's so like hobby level. Yeah, it's so superficial that like, okay lah, I draw. Ah, cute. And then never see it again, you know?
Yeah.
Like the quality is so different from actually like learning and going in depth about it. Actually, like being able to relate to artworks like actually shifts a whole different mindset for yourself, you know? Like when I watch your film as well, like Amoeba, I see how like past Beatrice would have seen it and be like, oh, okay. And then now Beatrice seeing it and be like, whoa, this hits so hard. And it's like such a different perspective shift as well when you actually think like I know they always like to say don't think so much because it's more painful. But once you break through the painful, like the happiness becomes so much more freeing. You know? But which is so weird to think about as well.
Yeah.
'cause-
I feel like people, like for example, the painting analogy, people don't want to suck at it. They want to be instantly good at painting or writing or whatever, like photography.
yeah.
But in order to be good, you need to have failed
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Yeah, you need to face someone being like, that sucks.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
Yeah, and you need to understand that there is a gap between where you are at and the work that you want to create, and that gap will always exist. And so it will be extremely unsettling for the rest of your lives. But then maybe there is a real pursuit there, because you are repeatedly trying to get defeated by greater and greater things, and then growing from there. Which is why when people come to our workshops, right? And when they say that they leave with a feeling of like unsettlement, or that feeling of like, wow, I feel like I have more questions than answers. I actually interpret it to be a very good thing, because then it's a window into what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I have a lot to say, maybe for a separate podcast, about like this, going back to the culture of coddling, and how in a lot of the wellness culture right now, it's a lot like, okay, it's okay not to be good enough, you know? It's okay to like not to feel this. Like, can we not always opt for what is comfortable? Can we stop like when I say people travel without traveling, people engage in wisdom without actually being engaging wisdom also.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think so. I take some yoga classes in the US, and I feel like the wellness culture, yeah, it's like I have thoughts on it too. And I think yoga and wellness and all these things, Pilates, always tries to make it feel calm. Calm is good lah, I think. Or like, I don't know, something. And then there was one teacher who wasn't say very physically demanding, but was doing yoga in a perform way. And then there was a participant who was like, oh, I just come here to stretch. And then he said, no, yoga should be uncomfortable. We should be pushing yourself. It's not just about feeling good all the time. And I was like, oh, you are, oh, what a great yoga teacher. Because I think a lot of the yoga is just about like feeling and looking good. And it's like about being in shape, you know, wearing Lululemon and all that thing. But it's not actually that. I think yoga can be a very difficult practice.
Yeah. Everyone just took the wisdoms of it and modify to make it, okay, now everyone can do it together.
And very capitalistic to make yoga into this wellness formula in a way. Like you do yoga equals to feel good.
Yeah.
Which is like traveling without traveling, instead of the yoga with
The yoga.
And of course, when you first enter yoga without ever doing it, of course it's like, whoa, this is so difficult already. But then as me too, because I went in the UK and I was a part of a yoga with the university. After like a solid few months, after I reached a certain point on that level, I could not see any more progression at all in my body. Then I got bored, then I stopped doing, you know.
And like, at what point does being calm become being sedated?
Yeah, sedation, that's what I was really talking, like being sedated.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, not to be all shitting on Singapore. And I just want to say that sometimes I'm quite vocal with my friends about my point of view with stuff. And then I feel like maybe they will think that I'm attacking them, but I'm not. I'm just like, when I come back here, it's like a cloud sets over me and I feel like I kill myself to survive here. And then sometimes I'm very angry about things. And I think it comes out as like, I don't like this and this is your life. But I think it's also a reaction to how sedated I have to be to survive here. And I don't understand why I have to sedate myself. Can I not sedate myself? But currently I'm still looking for how I can live without feeling sedated.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
definitely. I think we've been also trying to search, because every morning I also wake up feeling like, oh, I'm so happy. But then suddenly I talk to someone in the house and I'm like, I see you're in so much pain, but you're acting so happy, so I don't understand how to react to this. You know, like the energy shift is so different. And I feel like, shit, okay, how do I respond like politely? And then it becomes so like I am starting to contradict myself.
I see a theme appearing in our conversation. It's that of, wanting to be free, seeing the problems of society from parents or from the capitalistic push, and then wanting to break free, but also not knowing how. As you mentioned, there's no guardrails, but there's an interesting guidance, and it's that of the need to not want to not the need to not be sedated, and sometimes it comes across as anger, which oftentimes we quickly shut down. Oh, don't be angry, not right. But it's very interesting if you allow the anger to push you. We see, I mean, of course, it's not like primal unconstrained anger, but also at the same time not coddling, which means I allow it to really pierce deep, and I see where I go. It is actually very, very beautiful. I think, to me, I know as we speak a lot about these things, a natural cynical viewpoint could be, show me then, like, if you like walk the walk in a way. And that's where I thought coming back to Amoeba was such a fantastic example of when I watched it. A certain anger or certain passion that pierced very, very deep in the right direction that led to a product. So capitalists, you got your product that actually really worked. Internationally, like the whole world more or less universally feels there's something here, which then therefore goes to show that the theories that we had, of like being dissatisfied, being angry, pushing through actually results in something more precious than the original kind of formula of you must have something that you want to tell people, or you need to be good people. Then you give an example of how we must be more good, that kind of thing. Yeah, it doesn't work because it is in itself sedative. So you chose a very non-sedative option, and therefore you really lived by example. I thought it was very incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think anger is very interesting, and I mean, my whole life is just people like, hey, you be so angry.
Same.
Yeah, like there is so many things to be angry about. I cannot stop being angry, but at some point, I also don't want to be so angry. About it, right? So it's just this tension, and I think it is, as an adult, it's sort of like trying to channel this anger, like what you say, like intelligent rebellion. I think there's something also productive anger.
Yeah.
And I don't talk to I was in Geneva. I was talking to some like my interpreter, and we were talking about repressed anger. Repressed anger has a lot of like psychosomatic symptoms, and like especially in women, I think she was saying basically that like a lot of older women and women in general repress anger, and it comes out in like weird psychosomatic ways. And in a society of ours, very repressed society, I think a lot of anger is also repressed until like sian. Yeah, sian and sedated.
It leaks out in such devastating ways that we don't realize. And to say sian, I mean, it may not seem like much, but it could look like a total destruction of the inner dialogue.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm thinking. I have no idea what I want.
Yeah.
And that is terrible. No, absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and I noticed like there's like weird anger outbursts in Singapore. Sometimes like I'm at the hawker center, then suddenly there's like a very intense fight over the avocado shake. Very, very, very angry over like 10 cents, I think this is where it leaks out. It's very scary.
Yeah.
Or like uncle at the shopping center wagging his finger at the girl saying, you cannot wear so sexy. Like, what the fuck? I want to wear what? I want to wear what? Like, who are you to tell me what to wear?
Yeah, outbursts of anger that is repressed that go on. It is actually it's quite scary, it's true. Even in our own family. Like, it's crazy to see.
Yeah, true. Yeah, like my father, I think I was like, oh, he was just on the phone like shouting at someone, and I was like, who is he shouting at? Oh, someone like one of those like those calls that's like not like a scam call but like a sales call, and he got so angry really, and I was like, where did this come from? So scared.
Maybe I facilitate the next kind of direction. It's important, it's not like
true.
it goes all over the place. Yeah. My ENTJ is like, we must refine the ground of what we are talking about. Then we can go for. Yeah. Then my question to kind of a little bit of everybody right now is that we've discussed a lot. What stands out to you now in terms of an excitement to do or an excitement to anchor yourself in? Like, now that we've spoken, what new ideas or what new insights have you gleaned?
maybe I can go first because it's like I'm waiting to say. I think for the past few months of like jumping into the unknown and like going through the nihilistic phase of my life, like nothing means anything, like freaking adults don't even know what they're doing, like what the hell, who am I going to respect? I'm going to want to follow, like I don't even trust my own religion anymore, like culture doesn't exist for me, like what the fuck? Like who am I? You know? And then doing like this theater, I was like, what the hell? I don't even know whether I want to do this or anything. And then for some reason it clicked to me the other day when I managed to do the stereogram. Okay.
Ah,
Like I went home, I was struggling to freaking look at this damn goddamn stereogram. Okay, go search it up if you don't know what it is. And then I look at it, I was damn fucking frustrated I couldn't do it. And then I was like, fucking give up. Then I was about to give up, okay? And my eyes just like I stopped thinking. And suddenly, oh my goodness, I could see it. And like and it was so beautiful. And I was damn confused as to why the fuck, right? Like how the fuck does this work?
Yeah.
That it's right in front of you and you can't see it. And then I texted these guys, I was like, oh my gosh, is this what enlightenment feels like? And then they was damn confused as to why I got so excited. And then Renee was like, I think it's the process. And I just started thinking about how this small thing of like the process of like, I don't know what I was looking for. And I just kept going and going and going. And suddenly it clicked. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, and suddenly something in me was like, you know what? I genuinely feel like the reason why I keep trying as well, like coming back to studio every single day to work with you guys and not giving up, because there's something in me that knows that there is something there, but I just cannot see it just yet, and it's okay. You know, maybe that's my summary, I would say, from what is salient to me right now.
I have a very scary summary of sorts, which is that I used to belong to the camp that is very pro-government. Very, very pro, like, Singapore is amazing. Why are you guys being so angry? But I opened up my mind to also really think very hard. And over time, I realized, oh goodness, we are in deep shit if we don't change, or if we don't like really think harder now. And so when I really see what each of us do, especially, I mean, seeing the mind that reflects, or the mind that is dissatisfied with the now, pushing through, creating things, and still, moving forward from there. I think such an inspiration that I get very angry when I see like cynics that I go, hey, you don't understand what you're saying. Yeah. So I'm excited to see like what each of us continue to do. Yeah, and how we continue to progress as well. I hope that fire within us continues to burn bright.
yeah. I don't know. I feel that I'm very empty but very full right now. Like I'm empty in the sense that I did this thing that was huge and took all the energy out. So in that way I'm completely empty. But I'm very full also because it has been very fulfilling. And I think something I noticed is that I'm sort of like regressing to my teenage self, but I hope not in a bad way, in a sense that I am, maybe it's a reaction to like responsible adult for you. I am just trying to find joy in hanging out with your friends and not being this responsible adult. I mean, of course, I'm an adult. I have bills and stuff. I'm responsible in that way. I think the film made me feel this like purity of youth, and it's not that I want to stay in it, but I think it's like about trying to find a purity of emotion. Yeah, and I'm curious about what that will tell me today.
You had a quote, right? Or what?
Joy is an act of resistance.
And one more quote also, it's like we must take the very serious matters, like for example,
No,
doing-
we must take very mundane, small things with a lot of love. Like pour so much love into like stirring your coffee, into waking up and arranging your bed. But for the serious matters of life, treat it like it's a speck of dust and a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's something I like. That day I was putting like rice with, like the brown sauce, the typical brown sauce. And I was eating and I was like, oh my God, I finally tasted the brown sauce. Like my whole life I eat like wolf it down because I need sustenance. But I tasted how delicious it was. Yeah, I want to continue doing that. I don't want to do things like automatically and for efficiency. I want to taste that soy sauce with, you know, that heavy, that taste, and really, really taste it because I would, after a few spoons of it, I stopped tasting it because I felt like, okay, there's something I need to do. I need to go do some, I need to be somewhere, and I stopped tasting it. So I kind of want to taste things and just to exactly building up this like joy of resistance because there's something I also thought about with the film. I was like, yeah, we live in this like hyper capitalistic society and the film explores that and how do we cope with it, how do we deal with it, and then I was like, actually I think yeah, like what exactly what we're talking about, like emotions and joy and these things are an act of resistance too because these things are non productive. Yeah. Joy is very so to resist it is not like burning down everything, even though that is also good, I think. Sometimes it's not to throw a flame to or whatever. It is for ourselves, at least for me, like I don't want to be thin, I don't want to be certain, I want to feel very joyful.
With the passion and energy of as if throwing a flamethrower or a Molotov cocktail, but channeling it into something. It can look like tremendous drawing in school. Then wow, this guy's too happy.
Yeah.
He cannot.
We need to smack him.
You go, no!
Yeah, and also maybe with the innocence and like that kind of naivety of youth before you became an adult, was like bills and like whatever mortgage and whatever, like all this kind of stuff. I wanna like try to return to that while navigating the how can I do fun.
I'm over.
Coddled. He's okay to cry.
Empathy, just be empathetic.
This is not help. That was a very beautiful digression, which is that when used to sing how her theatre teachers in the past, whenever an actor or actress was doing some very, very difficult emotional work, then starts breaking down. And then
After the play ends, sometimes we have friends, your classmates who will go up to you and be like, "Oh, are you okay?" Or like, and then one day I was that actor, right? I just did the story of my lifetime, and it was very emotional. There was a lot of psychic processes, and then I sat down after feedback session. People were swarming up to me, and then my teacher just came out and was like, "Don't touch her. That's not helpful." And I was like, "Thank you," like, cause that coddling was actually not needed. Like I was doing something that was to me very objective, but if this idea of like, oh, it's okay, actually puts the emotional like front of things onto a pedestal still, and actually that's not the point.
I think you had a very interesting analogy after that, which is that let's say I want to cry. It's like saying it's going to rain. Then you say it's okay to rain.
Yeah, rain, please rain. It's okay.
The clouds go.
Then I'm quite curious, what would be an appropriate, not appropriate, but what would be a response that made you feel like, wow, okay, this was a
I would see like literally like an eye contact and a nod, like a sincere like I hear you. Like yeah.
I feel it's difficult. Yeah, I think.
depends, I think.
Yeah,
Because I do maybe sometimes fall into this like, oh, it's okay because someone seems helpless and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's of course a per person scenario and like what he feels right at the moment. Like if you really think that person really needs a hug, maybe he needs it,
and sometimes also the timing, like when maybe there's enough space held, enough time, and then going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if I see someone crying in the streets and I don't know this person, I'll go up and be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's like coddling or being compassionate.
Yeah.
Different taste to it, for sure. Do you have anything to say that for you? So we digressed.
I was thinking that for me, one of the most alive things was working with my kiddos in drama club. And the way I've been working as a director or a teacher to them is I go into the room and no one knows what I'm going to do. Like I work on pure unpredictability. The only predictable thing is that we start with balancing the space. We start with listening to each other. But then the exercise goes into free improv, and then from the improv we create a structure that the play is based on. And then the other day I was a bit late to class. I walked in. The two student directors, I saw them starting in the exact same like kind of structure that I usually do, which is from balancing the space, co-listening into free improv, and they were doing it so well. And for the longest time I was so worried that you know how in like proper pedagogy you're supposed to articulate a structure which people can understand, but I've done nothing with these kids except put kicking them and throwing them into the deep end of the pool and telling them to have fun, and then seeing them run around, and to see that people can embody that for themselves and learn that, I was like, wow, actually, like they're so much smarter than we think they are, you know.
Yeah.
People still have the fire in them. Just need look like a spark.
Yeah.
It comes back.
Infect them.
Yeah.
Infect them before.
It's fire spread.
Yeah.
Your film, oh my god, I'm so excited for when it comes out.
That's
In Singapore. Hometown, man. It'll be interesting to see.
will be interesting.
Any last words before we end it all?
I think I just want to say that if you are listening to this podcast and it resonates with you, please reach out to us.
Yes, and then it reminded me, that one comment that this username Maddie with some numbers that commented. I really was about to respond to your comment, on the previous episode, but when I went to go and respond, it was gone. So I don't know whether you deleted it intentionally or maybe I accidentally deleted it. But I think I just wanted to say that a comment like that really makes a difference as well, to be able to see people that think alike or like resonates with the podcast. It's always so nice to hear. And then on top of that, like to respond back to that comment now, I think you mentioned something about the previous podcast about what Renee said. It actually made me think about putting shorts of that clip onto the Instagram page or the TikTok page instead, so that we can actually do keep the highlight points. And I was really appreciative of that comment to motivate me to also do that, you know? So I think that's quite nice. And yeah, thank you so much for actually even that support.
We screenshot it, so
I screenshotted it because I was so excited and I sent it to them. And then I was like, I was using my own private account when I saw it under the channel. So that's why I didn't respond on the spot. But yeah. And then I sent it to them and I was like, oh my god! Yay! People! But yeah. And then some definitely like comment, and then maybe we can get Siyou and Sam on the podcast another time,
Oh.
if you're interested.
If she wants to be.
I think only that, like, yeah, if there are points of resonance, I feel like more than just a normal podcast, which is like a lecture series, the audience can technically comment back and we can actually respond to it in the future, especially if this does create a dialogue. That'd be exciting.
Yeah, dialogue. I think dialogue. Yeah, dialogue is very exciting, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think as a person who listens to podcasts and watches things, like as a passive like viewer of that, sometimes I think having a dialogue, because when something moves me and I want to talk to someone about it, and I think that I think it's very nice to encourage the dialogue, because I think maybe if one is asking these questions, one is like this in a minority, and one really feel under the isolated.
Yeah.
And I would just want to say that one need not be isolated, because there are other people thinking these things, even though they're not very
Open.
very open and obvious, because these are like your heart's questions and life's questions, and people ask it. And one's isolation might be the doing of a system, it might be institutionally. It's good for power to isolate everything, fragment, but I think that it's our human desire to want to connect and want to talk to people about things that maybe need to stir, things that stir up our inner souls. So yeah, things nice. Yeah, it's really nice to be encouraged to comment.
Yay. Thank you so much for watching. So please comment, subscribe. And the podcast that Renice mentioned was, to give him like a bit of credit, was Philosophize This by Stephen West. Stephen West? Yeah, we like to listen to him. He's very good. A lot of philosophy topics. Gets you thinking quite a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye. Yay! Thank you, see you.